Oh, hi, good afternoon. My name is Rahat Kazmi, and I'm going to deliver a MicroTeach for 10 minutes. Topics are about academic integrity and student experience. So, when it comes to academic integrity, I'll be explaining a bit about types of misconduct, what is academic integrity, and why integrity is needed everywhere. And then we'll go through the student experience with some examples. Initially, when in the beginning, when I lead a team, when I basically have a set of lectures with my team, I basically will always make sure they understand what academic integrity means, what type of misconducts are there, and what kind of for example, we have two types of academic misconduct. First one is plagiarism, and then collusion. So, I'd like to make sure my team is aware of it. My team knows what this means, and they also are familiar with the system of academic integrity. For example, Turnitin. If they are aware of it themselves, basically, of course, in the same time, then they will be able to uh, inform the students about this as well. Because students, they need to know if they are really trained well in the beginning, and then students will not be making any mistakes. So, academic integrity have five principles. Number one, honesty. Number two, trust. Number three, fairness. Number four, respect. And number five, responsibility. So, when it comes to honesty, we expect students to prepare their own work by themselves based on their own abilities and upload it and send for submission or state exams. When it comes to trust, basically, students need to trust their lecturers. At the same time, they need to trust their group colleagues as well, group mates. So by trusting each other, it can really improve relationships. And number three, fairness. Students must always believe in the system that they'll be treated fairly like anybody else in the community. And number four is respect, because through research, when we use other people's work, we use academic citations or we use references. So it will be respectful to those people, authors before whose work we're using. We need to give them reference. We need to give them citations, and we need to write their name references to give them credit. And number five would be responsibility. Uh, Basically, students have to be accountable for their own actions, and they need to stand by it. So every time they need to think very carefully whatever they do, because especially the course they're doing, it should not be taken as granted by the lecture from the lecturers or from the university, but they should be their own courses, their own modules. So they need to work on that. They need to take responsibility for it. So why integrity matters everywhere? So no matter where we are, integrity is part of our life. So even for academics when they prepare lecture notes, when they come to teach a class something, they had to make sure they are talking proper logic instead of not talking nonsense. They need to give references. They need to they need to have integrity in their own work as well. And then when it comes to athletics, if students become athletics, they take part in teams or sports. We had to tell them they had to compete fairly against other competitors without the use of enhancing drugs. And number three, when it comes to job hunting after they finish their degrees. So again, when it comes to CV writing or job interviews, integrity is very, very important. Otherwise, if we get there without lying, telling the truth, we'll get in trouble very soon. Number four, work. At work, we need to build credibility. We need to have credibility so people can trust us, people can really respect us, and we can really build our reputation, our brand like that. Number five, we have relationships. At work or home, no relationship can really become stronger without integrity. Now, let's talk about student experience. Students are our customers, and they pay lots of money, and they basically have high expectations. And we have to ensure that we deliver to them whatever they have asked for it, whatever they basically are uh, paying, whatever their goals are, objectives in life are. So we can try different learning methods, and so we can make sure that they learn somehow. So because we all learn differently, students learn differently, and we try different methods, chances are some method will definitely suit them. So first one, let's talk about active learning. Active learning is basically a student-centered approach where we can ensure in the classroom we have students not only physically but also mentally. They're taking part in activities, they're discussing, they are taking part in simulations and role plays. And then we have flipped classroom model. In this, a lecturer or module leader can record the lecture in advance and upload to VLE, and students have the chance to listen to the lecture and then come to class fully prepared, and then basically they can ask questions or they take part in activities. So this is a better way of learning for students. And then we have problem-based learning, where students are given real-life problems, real-life complex problems, and they have to find solutions for it. This will give them lots of confidence. So when they go into their own practical life after finishing the degrees, they'll be able to face problems and find solutions for them. Then we have inquiry-based learning. In inquiry-based learning, students are given scenarios and they're asked to find problems. And then, of course, do research on them and find solutions. And then we have the Addie model of instructional design in this one. Basically, we are supposed to analyze, design work, develop, go take it through to development and implement it, and then finally we basically evaluate it. And then we have core model. Core model is C stands for create, O for opportunities, R for real, and E for engagement. And we can say we can create opportunities for students through real engagement. And then we have Oscar model. Oscar model I used to use during my corporate training days. So here I used to advise my learners to basically think about the outcome when you start any activity. So basically, you should have an end in mind when you start something, and then look at the situation where you are right now. And then, of course, when you review the situation, you make choices accordingly. When choices are made, you have to take actions as per the choices you have. And finally, we review and make sure we understand what we've done. And of course, across the model, I always advise my team members at the same time, my students as well, to use the Cornell Notes taking, which is very, very good system, a good way to take notes in class. If students just come in without any pen, without paper, without any laptop, they sit in class and keep listening. They have usually 20 minutes listening span. After that, they will forget what they learned. It'll go out from other ears. So when they start taking Cornell notes, so they write down the question they have, they look at what were the key points discussed, and what are the summary. They can summarize a topic, what they learned from it, what they can out of it. This works really well for everyone. And finally, I usually talk about the first generation students in higher education. I was the first generation student myself. And I think that we need to, universities, realize and understand and provide help for first generation students, because they don't always come with the toolkit, or they don't know the rules of the game like non-first generation students would have done. Because my parents were not first generation first generation. My parents were not highly educated, so basically I was a first generation student and I had to struggle. And I give example for runners. Short distance runners and long distance runners, because for short distance runners we had to use a straight start and they all cover the same distance. When it comes to long distance runners, we had to have the staggered start. Otherwise, if we ask them to start at the same point, then of course some will have to cover more distance. This the same thing would happen to our first generation students. And if you look at the picture at the bottom where it says equality and equity, if we treat everyone equality, we also need to look at equity as well. What can we help to make sure they can also see the view by adding extra boxes for them? If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, send me an email. I'll be very happy to get back to you. Thank you very much for listening. Take good care.